Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey. Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets. It's Karl Bryan here coming at you sans Road Dog. My boy can't make it today, so I'm flying the flag on my own. So, poor old Road Dog, he busted up his wrist playing soccer. So he's been having a pretty not so great couple of weeks, the poor guy. But anywho, he has sent me through some questions, so I got them, and I'm going to do the best I can to start spitting out some answers. But anyways, thanks for being here, and here we go. He's got a question here. What is your favorite mindset hack to elevate your thinking as a coach? There we go. What is your favorite mindset hack? I'm going to start with do hard things. I wake up and whether this is a hard thing, don't know, but I wake up, I box 5 times a week. And by the way, the guy that I box with, and I've said this on the podcast before, but he has trained with he has boxed with Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, George Foreman, all like the big Trevor Berbick, who I believe Mike Tyson won the title from when he originally became heavyweight champion of the world. He's very good friends with him. He's really good friends with all of those guys. He knew Floyd Mayweather when he was a kid. But anyway, so what am I trying to say? This guy, I remember I did a race for my daughter's school. And so that they're having a track day, and then the whole thing ends, and the dad's having a race. Okay, and I didn't pull one hamstring; I pulled 2, which was very embarrassing. But of course, I had to win. But that was my plan, and I did not win. I did not finish the race. But anyways, I didn't pull one hamstring; I pulled 2. Well, guess how many days of boxing I missed? And it would rhyme with 0. Okay, and that is not my hard level of thinking. That is my boy Gary, who just refuses to allow an injury get in the way, and we'd made too much progress, and he just said, man, we're just going to make it work, and you're just going to move a little bit less. And he was here every single day. I think that having a training partner like that is absolutely pure gold. And by the way, boxing, and I don't want to put myself out there as some like amazing boxer, because I most certainly am not, although I love it, and like I said, I do it every single day. What I'm trying to say is do hard things. What is a hard thing for you? It's rock climbing. It's skydiving. You will find that as I say some of those things, you might be kind of throwing up in your mouth. But I would challenge you that if you want to go far and you want to inspire people, first of all, you want to be interesting. And I think somebody that goes skydiving, bungee jumping, goes kite surfing. I've got a motorized surfboard that I absolutely love. So it's like, think of a surfboard, but you want flat water instead of wavy water, right? And you rip around with a remote control in your hand. Not the easiest thing to learn how to do, quite frankly. Not the easiest thing to do. Once you do get the hang of it, you're going. But again, I do that on a regular basis. So it's one of those things where I feel like, I don't know, I'm out there in nature doing some cool stuff. I had to learn how to do that. I promise you, it's not easy. And by the way, I don't want to. So for you, what is that? And I was really passionate about this thing called a jet surf. So that allows me to, if we assume that learning how to jet surf well was a very challenging thing, because I was really, passionate about it and something I really wanted to do, I managed to do something that would be, hard and got over the line. Forget me. What about you? What is that? Do hard things. Are you doing hard things? If you're not, define a few and go do them. Learn new skills outside, and filling up a room with 10 people for your local live event at the Chamber of Commerce, or the golf course, or at the yacht club, or the oil and gas club, at the the high end local venue, the penthouse of a really expensive hotel. Would be a good idea. And that could be hard things, but I'm kind of talking about things outside of just 101 business, and something physical, I think, also will give you an advantage. But I would say that will provide you a bit of a step forward. I also just tell you that conscientiousness is a superpower of an entrepreneur. Be conscientious, be, purposeful, be deliberate in your actions. Again, the guy on Facebook with the car and all that sort of stuff, that is not, generally speaking, the really, really high performer. And again, I bring you back to Zuckerberg, I bring you to Bezos, I bring you to Michael Dell, those types of personalities, a little bit, thick glasses, nerdy type, talk softly and then actions are very loud, that type of individual. At the end of the day, conscientious, be purposeful, be deliberate. Delayed gratification would have to fall into a mindset. It's like when you do a local live event, when you start the planning of it, it's probably going to be, 2 weeks, possibly 3 weeks before the money hits your bank account and starts hitting your bank account. Might even be longer. You might have to do 2 to 3 events because maybe you're not super seasoned at doing those live, doing the events and converting an audience like that. So delayed gratification is just, again, there is lots of research out there by people way, 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 way smarter than me, that if you were to ask them this question, like, what was it? It's right here. Favorite mindset hack. It'd be delayed. They would tell you that delayed gratification, or certainly it would be in the top 3. So I challenge you to audit your personal ability to do hard work today that you don't realize the results of a long time. That's why diets don't work, because people go on a diet and they do the exercise, they stop eating all the junk food, blah, 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 blah. But you don't really, much like doubling the penny for 31 days and getting to 10 million, it's day 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, forever on the diet. It takes a long time, but when that weight starts to fall off, that weight really starts to fall off. Like the fat needs to, you know what I mean, to soften up a little bit. And then boom, all of a sudden, like, wow, you've really lost a lot of weight. It tends to happen, but it takes a while. And remember, all diets work until 7 o'clock. If you want to go on a diet and you want to be successful with it, make a strategy 7 until you go to bed as a game plan. I don't know if that falls into delayed gratification, but anywho, so mindset hacks to elevate thinking. Like an amateur thinks of what could go right, and then a pro thinks of what could go wrong. And then I would parlay that into a business owner, an entrepreneur thinks of what could go right, and an investor thinks of what could go wrong. I want to challenge you with being, I think that would be like the definition of a stoic, right? Like being really stoic. Bill Belichick thinks of what could go wrong versus what could go right when, they're playing football, and he would debatably be the greatest coach of all time, or certainly very, high up there in a very competitive world. Professional football, which ultimately he's coaching. That's what we're doing. We got to help our coaches, help our clients be thinking about, what if we launch this, what could go wrong? You want to be thinking asymmetrical risk. Like launching a podcast, there's very little risk and there's tremendous upside. But delayed, you're going to start a podcast tomorrow and then get magically a bunch of clients like really, really quickly. I'll also tell you that podcast, you're listening to this. As part of the podcast, you're a higher level individual. You're going to find that the one thing with your podcast and success with it is you will attract a higher level of client to that event. The same way that when we promote local, or promote how to get coaching clients using Facebook ads tomorrow, I will be inundated with people opting in and people registering, and quite frankly, a good portion of people will show up. That's a good thing. But if I do a promotion, how to read financial statements immediately afterwards, I'll get significantly less interest, significantly less click-throughs, significantly less opt-ins, significantly less people go to my training. But I will get a higher caliber of client, a higher caliber of individual, a higher level of prospect to how to read financial statements when I will Facebook ads. So it's it's appealing to becoming the best you can possibly be versus some tactical yeti, right? Hopefully that's making sense. But that yeah, so just the higher level, I don't know, what am I trying to go there? Like higher level thinking. Like remember, like Tony Robbins gets paid for who he is, not what he does, right? Grant Cardone, you may love him, you may hate him. Frankly, he's a billionaire. So to think that you can't learn something from him would be crazy. He's not my cup of tea. He's not my, you know what I mean? I'm not like some big Grant Cardone, fan. And Gary Vaynerchuk, I believe they both, you know what I mean? They promote a hustle and grind, work 18 hours a day and like sacrifice your 20s and 30s for success that I'm not 100% behind. I do believe in sacrificing for what you want and being really purposeful and being really, really good at defining what that end goal is. Think of my example that I've said many a times on the podcast. Kobe Bryant knew exactly what he wanted from like the age of 15, so his life was easy. He wanted to be the greatest basketball player of all time. And he wanted to win multiple championships, and he wanted to dominate the NBA. So I always do is I channel your inner Kobe Bryant. If you were Kobe, do you think you'd train 3 times a day or once a day when that's your goal? You're right, 3 times, right? Do you eat broccoli or do you eat chocolate? Look, you want the chocolate just like I do, but guess what? You want to be the greatest basketball player of all time. You go to you go to the broccoli, right? So you're getting that. Being really, really purposeful for what it is that you want is a hack big time. But understanding that Tony Robbins gets paid for who he is, Grant Cardone gets paid for who he is, Gary Vaynerchuk gets paid for who he is, Brendan Bouchard gets paid for who he is versus what they do. And Dan Kennedy would be the same. Frank Kern would be the same. So what is that? Building a local profile is going to take some time, but if you do it, the results could be exemplary. Imagine when coaching clients start, hiring you for who you are versus what you do. Imagine how everything would change. But that's good news. Bad news is delayed gratification would need to be super high on your list, in that ain't happening anytime soon if you don't already have a huge profile, right? Or when I say huge profile, like, a profile, an impressive one. How do you do that? I just tell you, run a local live event every Tuesday at 7 a.m. for an entire year, and that will happen organically. But you know that, and instinctively as I say it, you know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, I'm all in. But what you won't do is you won't do it. You won't follow through. And I don't say that to call you out. I say that to call on you. Because again, that's really hard to do 52 events in a row at the local chamber at 7 a.m. But if you had a purpose that was super big and you were really all about the chiropractor, the dentist, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and elevating the local consciousness of business owners, you'd follow through at a higher level. But anywho, so mindset hack. I think I want to. The stoic in me is saying to say like making $100,000 a year and buying $100,000 car is intergalactic stupidity. Ridiculously common and intergalactic stupidity for you, the business coaches of the world, and for the local, the dentist, the chiropractor, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the landscaper. In some cases, by the way, it works because that individual gets pushed into a position where they've got to work harder. They got to think at a higher level. They've got to, show up and do the jobs to make sure that they can, buy, like spend that, you know what I mean? Like afford the car, etc. But I just, again, understanding accounting and understanding how to read a balance sheet, an income statement, and a cash flow statement. There's no level of common sense that can be used to get to the fact that a guy makes $100,000 a year and then buys $100,000 car, which he normally has to finance, or she has to finance it, which means $100,000 car finance is not $100,000, not even bloody close. And by the way, maybe you lease things that depreciate and then buy things that appreciate. So does a car depreciate or does a car appreciate? It obviously depreciates. So, well, at least if you're not buying classics. So as a gen, that is not black and white, but it's close. certainly a frame. They should be leasing their car, and they're probably buying it. Like, again, like, it's not about being in the right place at the right time. It's about being the right person at the right place at the right time. Right. So it's not about being, it's not about being, I'll make sure I said this right. It's not about being in the right place at the right time, which is very popular advice. It's about being the right person at the right place at the right time. So, question, how much homework, like when you do a local live event and you've got 10 people coming, my question is, how much research have you done on each individual business owner that's agreed to come? And if you're the average business coach consultant that I've spoken to, the answer would be none. And then I say, why? And then their answer would be something to the effect of, oh, it's always, you know what I mean? The landscaper, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, it's all the same thing. It's all, you know what I mean? The way that I help one is the exact same way I help the other. It's just not necessary. And then I would argue that that is disrespecting your audience, which will always come back and bite you on the bum bum. And then something that Tony Robbins has said that is, popular and I think to be great advice. He had a really tight room of a very select few individuals, and they said, like, what's the greatest hack? Or he said, here's the greatest hack. And he screamed out one word, and it was so loud that like spit flew out of his mouth as he said it. The roof almost came off the room. Every one of them, there was so much wind that their heads came back. And the word was prepare. And he just screamed it at the top of his lungs. My question is, how prepared are you when you go meet a local business owner and you're going to try sell them coaching? How much preparation have you done before the call? Right? The competitive advantage it can give you if you do even 15 minutes of homework before you get on the call with anybody, whether it's your mom about something that you need to discuss with her, if it's a prospect, if it's a joint venture partner, if it's your accountant, if it's the person who's, media, like, buying your advertising, if it's the person that works for you, it's your virtual assistant, it's your you know what I mean? Like any of the coach that works for you, the lead generator that works for you. Tell you 15 to 20 minutes prior to that call can be really, really game changing. And I would just bring that back to what Tony Robbins says, and that is that, prepare. I'm just trying to think of it. Like, what about like, your enemy is not fear. Your enemy is comfort. I want you to think about that. Your enemy is not fear. Your enemy is comfort. And so, translation to that, I would say, is take your dreams and turn them into goals. You know what I mean? And just create some benchmarks for that. Take your dream. And another way of stating this, but some really good advice that I've had a ton of feedback on, that I have given many a times and I'll continue to give, over the months, quarters, years, decades, etc. as I do this. You got to create a 25-year plan for your business. So we'll call that your dream result. And then I want you to come back. So start with your 25-year plan for your business, and then come back 10 years, and then come back 5 years, and then come back 3 years, and then come back 1 year. It's very hard to do this, by the way. Sounds easy, incredibly difficult to create that 25-year plan, and then 10, 5, 3, and then 1. And then the question is, do you have a straight line between your 25-year goal, your 10-year goal, your 5-year goal, your 3-year goal, your 1-year goal, and then, by the way, your 3 quarters, your 9-month goal, your 6-month goal, your 3-month goal, and then your 1-month goal, and then your 1-week goal, right? And like, once you do that, which again sounds easy as I say it, very hard exercise to complete. You'll have to be conscientious in order to, follow through and do that properly. But the question is, once you do that, like, go from your 1-week goal to your 25-year goal, and do you have a straight line? And I will tell you that, much like Kobe Bryant, once you do that, a lot of the answers, a lot of the questions that you have, a lot of the, should I do this? Should I do that? Is this a good idea? Is that a bad idea? Is this the right roadmap? Is this the best roadmap? Is this, too much of a deviation from my roadmap? Once you do that, the answers become really, really easy. Much like when I channeled Kobe Bryant, you knew the answers. Train 3 times a day or once a day. It's easy. If you're going to train 3 times a day, do you need to start at 4 a.m. or are you going to start at 1 in the afternoon? The answer is obvious, right? Anywho, So I think that's it. You know what I mean? And then just think of bigger, thinking bigger. Like instead of watching videos that are giving $1 million advice, start listening to billionaires. And there's look, this is Charlie Munger, this is Warren Buffett. These types of videos, these types of interviews are harder to come by, and they're not going to be rah and lots of lights and impressive. And, they're going to come rolling up in their Rolls Royce. But there is a lot. Like watch a Zuckerberg interview. Zuckerberg got interviewed by Tim Ferriss. You should absolutely listen to that. You can see Jeff Bezos, again, very difficult guy to interview over a very long period of time. But there are interviews on the internet that you can watch on YouTube, and you can watch a little bit of his magic. Reading letters to shareholders of Amazon, you can see that his vision that he had in 1997 basically came to fruition. He had, I think that he probably did that exercise of 25, 10, 5, 3, 1. And I can tell you that he basically, what he outlined many, many years ago is there. Spend time doing that instead of the reel on Facebook or the, quick little video, the 3-minute video on YouTube. And I think that, and by the way, and then take that and then translate it, parlay it into effective to-do list, action plans for you, for your clients, for the prospects, in your local area. So, look, okay, and I'm going to end with compounding as if you go to, we have a profit acceleration simulator. If you go to our simulator that we created, you're basically going to see a roughly 5-minute video that explains compounding, but the nuts and bolts of it, instead of trying to hit a home run, like take up Facebook ads and really killing it with your lead generation, when you create a small incremental change, call it 3%, in multiple areas of your business, so let's say 5, 3 to 10 areas in the chiropractor, the dentist, or your own business, you get a compounding effect, which think of it as they multiply instead of add together. And if you think again, compounding, again, I believe it's Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Basically, when you double a penny every day for 31 days, it's not until day 27 that all the magic happens. The same thing happens. But the magic does happen between day 27, day 31. You end up with $10 million after starting with a penny, right? Well, the same thing can happen with your results, your efficiency, your productivity with your own company, with your client's business. So anyways, I'm going to leave that there. Mindset hacks. I started with do hard things. I want to challenge you to go find something really, really hard and go learn something new. And you will feel, I think that it will have a very positive effect on your business. Okay, next question, Road Dog. How can I use my LinkedIn profile to get coaching clients consistently? Okay, best part about this question is the word consistently, by the way. Look, let me just tell you this. Social media is a long-term play. Don't kid yourself. You're not going to go make a post on social media when you haven't been making posts on social media and get a bunch of action, which, by the way, and you may do and has been done, but you just need to understand that social media needs to be played as a long-term play, not a get-rich-quick deal, right? And remember, that comes back to your enemy is fear. Your enemy is not fear, sorry, it's comfort, right? Like you don't have a fear. Here's, again, something I've said that has got some positive feedback for me on different conversations and emails and correspondence that I've had, but you don't have a fear of failure. You have a fear of other people seeing you fail, right? Think about that, right? So like, if you weren't worried about other people seeing you fail, and believe me, they're not really all that worried about what you're up to. They've got their own things that they're thinking about, challenges that they have. They're not spending an enormous amount of time worrying about you. So I think that is really important. So, okay, here's something. I used to literally put this in the bottom of every one of my emails, but you don't have a client problem. You don't have a money problem. You don't have a lead generation problem. You have a refusal to help people before they pay you problem, right? Now, if I go to your LinkedIn profile, how many people, like, if I read through it, would I learn anything? If I went to your podcast, would I learn anything? Do you even have a podcast? If I went to your local live event on Tuesday at 7 a.m., would I learn something? Do you give me unbelievable examples, unbelievable metaphors, unbelievable stories that you've practiced and you've thought through and you've experimented with? And by the way, do you actually have an event happening Tuesday at 7 a.m.? And the answer is often no. So I would, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by that. I do a daily email. I start it with a joke and then I try to educate people. Is it the greatest email in the world? Is it the worst email in the world? You know what I mean? There's no doubt I put out some really good emails. I get some unbelievable feedback and they turn into blog posts, of course, right? But at the end of the day, that's me educating my database. This podcast is me educating the folks that follow me, right? And forget me, what about you? Are you out there doing these kinds of things? And by the way, here's the challenge. You're going to do a podcast. You're going to do some YouTube videos. You're going to do some local live events. And then guess what you're going to do? You're going to quit, right? And that's not me calling you out. That is me calling on you. If you've got that 25-year vision, you've got that Kobe Bryant picture, you'll be significantly stronger when it comes time to follow through. You know, like value that I'm just thinking, did I say like value comes in two? Oh, I said this with Tony. Like value comes in two forms: entertainment, education. Okay. So that is why I start every email out with a joke, right? Good joke, bad joke, off color, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just me trying to, you know what I mean? Like, and I get a ton of feedback and people read my emails for the joke far more than they do my education. And I get some horrifically, hostile feedback. And there's some people that think I am the biggest jackass on the planet and they let me know. Does that stop me? Right? Do I cry in my Cheerios? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Do I change my style? Do I change? The answer is no. Like that's my thing, right? And I am not for everybody and I'm not trying to be for everybody. Vanilla, no thank you. That's not going to get you very far as a coach. But again, forget me. I call on you. How are you going about educating and how are you going about entertaining local business owners? Like if you did, let's say you decided to put together a little networking event and you were going to get 25 business owners and network them, which would be a good idea. And you would probably do well. You could do it literally in your kitchen, in your own living room. You could do this in your home very easily, right? The question is, when they left or before they got there, how much time would you spend thinking about how you were going to entertain them? Not just because educating them, I would think that you do that automatically if you're a business coach trying to get clients, but the entertainment thing is something you might not spend a lot of time with, and I'm going to suggest that would be a mistake. When you go to do LinkedIn posts, how much time are you thinking about being a little bit, and entertaining is very subjective term there, right? Like entertaining for one and entertaining for another is totally different. Saying things in a charismatic, interesting way, saying things in a story-like format could be seen as entertainment. I'm not in any way saying you got to become Jerry Seinfeld because you don't, right? But I will tell you this, you got to be consistent, right? Like sporadic. Remember, it's an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's not 7 apples on Sunday because you forgot. Right? Remember, you're going to be remembered for what you refuse, and I always capitalize refuse when I say this, and bold it and italicize it. You're going to be remembered in life for what you refuse to give up on, right? Well, if you refuse to give up on local business owners and you promoted an event and only 2 people showed up, what would you, if you were Kobe Bryant and use that metaphor, guess what you'd do? You would be there next Tuesday at 7 a.m. And what if only 2 people showed up to that one? What if only 1 person showed up to that one? Well, if you were Kobe Bryant, you were really clear on your 20-year, 25-year vision, and you were hell-bent on educating the local business owners, guess what you'd do? Next Tuesday at 7 a.m., you would be there. Remember, you would be remembered for what you refused to give up on. So I was talking to somebody this week, and they were just talking about their local live events, and it's finally started to get some traction, and they've basically got 10 people coming to the next event without one phone call, without anything. Remember, what they want is 10 people in that room. They've already got 10 people scheduled for this week's event. How cool would that be? And by the way, the hack there and what I always did is when I did an event, my goal was not I mean, there were some prospects and a number of consultations and a number of appointments and a number of clients and an amount of money. I'd be lying to say that that's not something that I was tracking. But let me tell you, that was not my biggest KPI. My biggest KPI, the intention that I set is I got up there, I walked on stage, which by the way, I didn't use a stage because that's a bad idea because I elevate myself in that environment. I want to be standing on the floor with you. My conversion significantly higher. But my intention was to get 2 referrals per person. Okay, why did I do that? What's the hardest thing to do when you're doing a local live event? You're correct, filling the event. So guess what happened? When I got 10 people there and I got 2 referrals, I've now got 10 people that just participated that I could follow up a second time on, and they just gave me collectively 20 referrals. Are 20 people going to come to my event? No, but I bet 3 or 4 will. And then guess what? If I only need 10, if I got 3 or 4, guess what? I just need 6 or 7 and my room is full. And by the way, I got 3 or 4 coming. If you've only got a small table, see, if you go to a stadium that fits 10,000 people and there's 5,000 people there, it feels empty. It is a lack of energy. That's why they black out all of the, for a rock concert or something like that, they'll black out all the chairs. That's why they do it. But if you have a stadium that fits 4,500 and you have 5,000 people there, it feels chock-a-block like the place to be. The energy in that stadium is like significantly greater than it is in the stadium where there are 10,000, same amount of people, and there's, significantly more energy on one, right? So translation for you, if you have a boardroom table and there's only 4 people fit and you put a 5th person around this boardroom table, guess what? It feels full. If you've got a table that fits 25 people and you put 10 people there, it feels empty. There's a lack of energy. So you got to be really conscientious, really intelligent, really purposeful with the way that you design this room. What do you got to be? You got to be prepared. You got to know how many people are going to be showing up, right? And guess what? Will you get a little bit better at it, 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 a little bit better at it? The answer is yes. Anyways, I was talking about LinkedIn, wasn't I? So the worst mistake you could make as a coach online is to hang out with other coaches. You need, that's like okay for like 20% of your time, but you need to be spending 80% of your time with cosmetic surgeons, with dentists, with landscapers. And there's lots of groups on LinkedIn, lots of groups on Facebook, lots of, groups and communities and trade associations, et cetera. Trade shows. You need to be spending time with your target market. Spend time with people who are going to spend money with you, not just your peers. Huge mistake is just hanging out with other coaches. And again, there's a place for that. But you need to go where, people are going to write you checks. And then, by the way, if I'm on LinkedIn and I'm trying to generate a lead, I'm not trying to sell you coaching, even mention coaching. I got to bring you to a call. So like you ask me a question or you're looking for a reframe, like whatever it is, it would always be a 15-minute call. Everything is always a 15-minute call. And then I parlay that 15-minute call into, okay, come to my event on Tuesday at 7 a.m. or let's schedule 90 minutes, get together, and I'll find you $100,000 in 45 minutes without you spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising, which is basically the consultation that we do with the software to basically close a coaching client. Okay, but I'm not taking you to LinkedIn and then selling you coaching in a private message or via text. This is a $12, $24, $36 plus $1,000 sale. I'm doing that over the phone or face to face. I'm not doing that via text. Can you do it via text? Can you do it private messaging? Are there people talking about that on Facebook like crazy? And the answer is yes. But just if you're, there's a good chance if you don't have 10 years of experience coaching, you're going to need the phone, a Zoom, or a face-to-face to sell $24,000 consulting. Okay, so don't kid yourself there. No matter what the influencer driving the Rolls Royce or the Porsche or the Lamborghini on Facebook tells you. And also research, like how much you want to get clients on LinkedIn, like how much research have you done? Like, have you got a list of 50 local business owners that are a member of the chamber, 50 local business owners going to BNI, 50 local business owners that are networking, 50 local business owners that are buying advertising, 50 local business owners that you'd like to do business with because you've got experience in their niches? how much research have you done on them? Have you gone to LinkedIn and found them and had a look at your profile? And have you connected with them? And have you done on Facebook? Like that would come back to prepare. This is non-sexy work. Remember, Tom Brady threw the football for a very long time before he started getting paid, right? And again, friend them on, Instagram, friend them on Facebook, connect with them on LinkedIn, etc. Like build your network, but delayed gratification. Are you going to like friend somebody, connect with somebody on LinkedIn or Facebook tomorrow and today and then get clients tomorrow? The answer is no. And maybe you're going to be the anomaly, but I don't play, I play percentages in business, not anomalies. So anyways, comment, get involved, say something noteworthy. Keep a doc, a Google Doc or a Word doc or a document going where, you got really intelligent answers to really common questions, like how to form a joint venture as a landscaper. Okay, well, get a really involved answer, capture it on a Google Doc, and then when you're in the landscaping group and somebody mentions anything remotely similar to that, go and boom, lay that answer down and personalize it a little bit. But again, comment, get involved, say something noteworthy. Again, don't be vanilla. Be a little bit entertaining, right? Be a little bit like, don't be shy to like make statements. I will tell you, like, you gotta always talk about selling against, singing hallelujah. If I'm getting together with a business owner, I guarantee what I'm not doing is I'm not singing hallelujah and telling them how amazing it's going to be. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to get started. This is going to be so good. Although there's an element of that, but that's not the frame. I'm going to the frame of, do you have a business plan? And what do you think they say? No. Do you have a marketing plan? What do you think they say? No. Excuse me. Do you have a marketing budget? What do you think they say? No. Do you have a documented sales process that I can look at? No. Are you generating leads using digital marketing? No. Are you exercising SEO? Are you on the first page of Google? Probably no. Are you the top 3 in Google? Definitely no if they're not on the first page. Are you, SEO, is that something that you're spending some time on? And have you had a professional go through your website and make sure that you've got the keywords and the key phrases throughout your website? What do you think the answer is? No. And then, think of little cut. So when I go to ask them, do you want a little bit of help? It would be totally against the flow of the conversation for them to say no. Because it's like, oh my gosh, you need some help, man, or gal, like, you know what I mean? Like, what the heck are you doing? So, okay, so on that note, Zig Ziglar, I believe it is, but Zig Ziglar was, a very famous speaker. He's passed away, God bless him. May rest in peace, Zig Ziglar. Great guy. Really enjoyed a lot of what he put out. But he would say is that back in the day, he was selling pots and pans, and then he would have people that would come and also sell pots and pans. And he knew if they were going to be successful, how, on whether or not they bought the pots and pans. If they didn't buy the pots and pans for their own family, they clearly weren't really believing in it. So if they didn't tend to be successful. And if they did, they were. So how does that translate to you? You need to go and find your community. Hopefully it will be ours, by the way, but you need to, get into a community, get into, you need to be, buying into coaching yourself. It's very, very important. Are you sacrificing, your own hard-earned dollars and time, with coaching? So anyways, I'm not so LinkedIn. Look, you got to be consistent. Again, it's an apple a day. If I go to your LinkedIn profile, I can tell you how well you're doing, right? I can just see it's right there, and I can't so much tell you how well you're doing right now. I'm going to tell you how you're going to do in the future, because I can see the conscientiousness, the consistency at which you're posting, and that's going to tell me how you're doing. Right? That's going to tell me how you're going to do in the future and the way that you're operating. And by the way, you do the same thing with your clients. Consistency beats talent. Okay, so he had this. This is actually okay. So here's the question. Last week we talked about risk reversal, and then you wanted to go a little deeper. Do you recommend offering money back / risk reversal when closing clients? So Road Dog asked me this last week, and I kind of gave a bit of a, I answered it, but then I was like, you know what? I could have done a better job of that, because I think it's a question that we get stupidly consistently internally. We're in 49 countries and got, lots and lots and lots of very high profile coaches and consultants working with us, and lots of accountants and lots of business brokers and lots of folks that own networking organizations and promotional companies, et cetera. But again, what we do is we teach the accountant to do business consulting. We teach the promotional company to do business consulting. We teach the bookkeeper that's going to small business owners to do business consulting, right? So my answer, so what would my answer be to that? So do I like? So the answer maybe be yes and no, right? Like, think of this: wealth is a choice you make, not a chance you take, right? Wealth is a choice you make, not a chance you take, right? So if you really want to be successful with this, would you offer risk reversal? Wouldn't you want to put yourself out there? Wouldn't you? Who do you want the pressure on, them or you? You know what I mean? Wealth is a choice. You don't become wealthy by accident. You don't become super successful and become a seven-figure coach without putting yourself out there a little bit. So as a frame, scarcity is quantity available, and then urgency is time available. Both work when used properly. Like, scarcity and urgency are both effective marketing tactics, but you need to kind of look, they operate in different ways. Let's say that, like, scarcity taps into their fear of missing out and creates a sense of exclusivity. And by the way, if you want to sell to affluent people, exclusivity is something they want to be exclusive, and they want experiences, and they want exclusivity. So scarcity will provide that exclusivity, right? So by limiting the availability, so let's just say business coaches, maybe marketing, digital agencies, we have lots of those clients, right? Can increase like perceived value and make it more desirable for their consumer, or more to the point, the clients, to buy from them. Whereas urgency, on the other hand, creates a sense of immediacy and encourages people to take action now, right? Like, let's see if I can get like some examples. A limited time offer would be that, right? Again, time availability. Flash sales. This is available for X amount of time. Or other limited time promotions. Like, think of McDonald's. Whenever they do a promotion, it's always got a limited timeline, only available for X amount of time. Without that, all the top promotions that McDonald's do have got urgency connected to it. They have a use by date, an end date, right? Do your promotions, as I say that, do your clients' promotions have that? They kind of just do it till it peters out, and then they stop, right? So the idea is to create a sense of urgency to motivate potential buyers to act now, rather than putting it off and then possibly forgetting about it, by the way. So should you offer a guarantee as a coach? Look, if you have more clients than you can handle, it's just not necessary, right? And there's an argument to say that you don't need a client. That a client that needs risk reversal to say yes is one that you just don't need, because you're super busy, right? That being said, if you need clients, you're in the sandbox and you're willing to work hard for them, like, why wouldn't you? Like I said, somebody's got the risk, right? Um, so why don't you take it? Clients aren't looking to take advantage of you, right? Coaching is a very one-to-one personal thing. So it's going to be very seldom that a client that really shouldn't be asking for their money back and got results is going to come back and ask ask for their money in what we'll call as an unfair request, right? This doesn't, generally speaking, doesn't happen. It does once in a while. But think about this. If you had a money back guarantee and it got you 10 clients, and that wouldn't have otherwise signed up, and then two of them take advantage of you, you're plus 8, right? Financially, you're a million times better off. So, but the mistake in life is, again, we tend to think of, what is it? It's pain versus pleasure. We're significantly more fixated on the two that took advantage of us than thinking about the plus 8 that we otherwise wouldn't have got, right? So you got to manage your psychology. You got to have that big purposeful picture 25-year plan in place, and I think that will help you overcome it's like a loss in the playoffs. It doesn't, you think Kobe Bryant just goes, did he lose in the playoffs to a team that they shouldn't have lost to in the playoffs, and then say, oh, they can just have the series? No. He went to game film. He came back that much harder in the next game, right? When they lost in the playoffs, and got knocked out, what did he do did he still train in between the seasons, or did he say, you know what, I'm packing this in. This team sucks. Until they get some better players, until they do this, until they do that, start making excuses. No, because he had that bigger monster purposeful goal and picture for himself. He ran over the top of losses. And of course, if you know Michael Jordan, who I believe to be the ultimate athlete, you know what I mean? Like basically that was his thing, right? They lost to the Pistons, lost to the Pistons, lost to the Pistons, and he just dived in and said, "Look, this is not." Drew a line in the sand and said, "This is just not happening anymore." And if it wasn't for those losses, Michael Jordan, debatably, would have never become Michael Jordan. He wouldn't have won, 3 championships in a row, retired, come back, and then won 3 championships in a row, right? So, but it's that big, purposeful monster goal. Do you have that? You know, like so. Okay, so I'm going to say good operators slash good business coaches. They realize the importance of having you, as in the prospect, as in the chiropractor, the dentist, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, feel certain. I want to put that in quotes. Feel certain, and therefore turn the risk on themselves, right? And then in some cases, even better than money back guarantee. So so it's not just risk reversal. Let's see, let's go to some examples. Like, what about puppy dog close? What would that be? Look, try my coaching for 30 days and then start paying if I'm any good. Well, if you're super busy and you can only take on an extra few clients, would that be a good idea? And I would dare say not. If you're in the sandbox and just getting started, and what do you really need? You need experience. Remember, you don't need leads. You need to become unbelievable business coach. The best business coach is the one that make the most money. Make no mistake about it. The same way that the best baseball players, the best football players, the best hockey players, the best tennis players, the best golfers end up making the most money, right? And yes, there are nuances and injuries, but generally speaking, the cream rises to the top, right? So make no mistake about it. You don't have a lead problem. You have, I need to be a better coach problem, right? Well, if you coached people for free for 30 days, guess what you'd be getting? Experience, right? And you'd be getting it in a frame where you got to close them on day 31. I would dare say that would be a really good way for you to build up some muscle, build up some what I'll call coaching muscle, right? And then, of course, you could do a money back guarantee, which is obvious. But what about a double your money back guarantee? Like, you pay me $1,000 a month, and in any 1 month, I will pay you 2 times what you paid me if you decide that this was not a favorable month in your favor. Or again, you could do, hypothetically charge 10 grand, a flat number. Say, you know what, at the end of 12 months, after you've paid off the entire 10 grand and you've showed up to you've showed up to the coaching calls, we've gone through this for 12 months. If you're not satisfied, I'll give you double your money back. I just said something very important. Make sure that they follow through on the full 12 months. It's not a double your, the way that you could frame it. You could do this multiple ways, but I wouldn't necessarily frame that up that they could decide in month 3, 4, 5, 6 that I'm no good and get double the money back. They'd have to wait for 12 months. And by the way, in 12 months, they've completely forgotten and moved on with their life, if we'll assume that your relationship wasn't good. I'm in no way suggesting that you should put together an offer and a double your money back guarantee and then not follow through and then hope people forget. What I am suggesting is putting some pressure on yourself so that you get some stronger coaching muscle, right? You could work with them at no charge until they're satisfied, right? Like, you could do that at any stage. You're not feeling like you're loving the relationship, loving what we're doing. I'll stop charging you and I'll keep going until you're satisfied, right? There's always if you don't sell it in 90 days, I'll buy it. Like, you'll see that in real estate. You'll see that with cars. You'll see it with coaches. Could you do the equivalent of that in coaching? Not really, but that would be kind of the double your money back guarantee. Or like Tony Robbins will do it where you come to the event and at the end of day 1, if you're not totally satisfied, you can leave and get, all your money back. Plus, I'll pay you $1,000 for your travel expenses, right? You'll see this online, like Frank Kern types. They'll offer a bonus that you can keep if you exercise the money back guarantee. So that's, again, better than, it's not double your money back, but it's better than a money back guarantee where you're able to keep the audios, keep the videos, keep the online access, keep the books, etc. Keep the knowledge that you got in the the 4-hour consultation, keep the roadmap that I printed out and sent to you via my software. You could offer to donate the amount to their favorite charity if they're not satisfied. If you feel like something's askew, you might want to do that instead. Anyway, so you could offer to buy them the competitor's product if they're not satisfied with yours. I know I used to do, there's lots of ways you could frame it up. I could keep going. This is, there's a zillion different ways that you could offer money back guarantee and what we'll call risk reversal, right? I remember I used to do a speaking event, and what I did is this is how I filled the rooms. Is I guaranteed to solve any marketing problem on the spot. Right? Tell you, when I announced it, I was pooping my pants. I was very, very nervous for the first few, certainly the first one, but the first few. But you know what? It was simple. And the hack that I had, if you're, something along those lines, is if I wasn't 100% sure and I felt like I needed to percolate a little bit, I wanted to give a better answer than what was currently in between my ears. I would just throw it back to them and say, look, can you go a little bit deeper on that question? Or I'd ask them to, clearly, define the question at a slightly higher level. So then that would give me, 5, 10, 30 seconds where I could come up with a better answer. And I could always use the audience. So there's my answer. I'm curious, does anybody in the audience have a better answer than I have? And if you felt like you needed that, you could do that. You got to be careful with that because you could end with a runaway show. You got to control. You got to be better as a speaker. You got to be able to control that room. But anyway, so I guarantee to solve any marketing problem on the spot. I used to do that for business coaching, where I guaranteed to solve any business coaching problem on the spot. I actually turned that into if you wanted to listen to those, there's a few podcast interviews where I did that. Anyway, so bottom line, look, get a little bit creative. It's just, what you want is for people, prospects, business owners, again, chiropractor, dentist, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, to feel certain, right? Like, so provide that, right? And I close like almost 100% of the people that I sat with. And the reason, my attitude was, I didn't do my best. I did whatever it took. And I sold many and this is back way, 2000s. I was selling six-figure coaching business or six-figure coaching deals with contingencies, et cetera. And I got them, and it worked for all concerned. But again, I didn't do my best. I did what it, I didn't do my best. I did what it took, right? I'd question you. Are you willing? Are you not willing? Like, so many people are not willing. Karl, I don't cold call. Like, I know that person's going to fail because they're all fixated on themselves, right? It's not about cold calling. Don't think it. If you don't have, I call people because there's something interesting to tell them. When I'm doing a local live event and it's going to be unbelievable, and you're a mortgage broker and I've got a high flying realtor there, I'm calling the mortgage broker not to sell them on my event or sell them. I'm selling on the fact that they should be there, right? That's the way you got to frame it. You got to phone people because you got something important to say. That's very different than a cold call. They're advertising and their advertising sucks. You're doing the wrong thing to not phone them and say, you need to be in my room so that I can show you a few things, because that ad that you're running, I think I could dramatically tweak that. So anyways, risk reversal. I think it's a good thing. I think it's, a matter of getting creative. Do what you're comfortable with. But again, just if you're not comfortable with it, then I got to send you back to school, because if you're not comfortable with it, that means that you're not comfortable. You're going to follow through. No such thing as a bad student. There's only a bad teacher, right? You're not finding a way to get through to that business owner. Anyway, so and again, as a frame, scarcity is quantity available, urgency is time available. I think that might be handy for you to kind of just commit to memory in terms of way forward. But anyways, that is my time, folks. I hope that was helpful. I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully Road Dog is feeling better, and he'll be here next week. So appreciate you guys. That's all I got for today. Take care. Bye-bye.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. this becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.